Okay. Okay, so Jody, can you hear or see me? Okay. All right. Hang on one second. Sorry, everybody. If I just want to apologize for this. I think I know what's happened here. Okay. I'll turn the volume up a bit on my side. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So is that any better? I don't know why, but I think I actually have found out what happened, but I had a totally black screen on my side, which is why I was totally confused. But as long as you can hear me and see me, I'm fine. Hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is Smile Friday evening. That's the evening where we find some good quotes from a comedian or somebody that we dearly appreciate. Whoops. Hang on one second. Hi, Suzanne. Just bear with me a second. I've got all sorts of things going on at the same time here, and some of them not so good. All right, we can do this because we are strong. Suzanne, have we met you before? Just forgive me if I don't know your name. It happens to me every now and then. We are going to be smiling a bit as soon as we've got this all working properly, which I think we have now. And I just want to welcome anybody that's watching, anybody who's been here. If you missed the lunchtime broadcast, I really recommend that you watch it. It was about plastics. And I think it probably is something that we all need to be aware of and need to see uh, what's going on and see also, you're new, well, welcome, honey. And also make sure that you are aware of what you can do. And that's really very, very important. How did you find us, Suzanne? That's always important for me to know. Welcome. And it's a pleasure. I'm using different milk and it's totally different when I go to drink it. Mm. the the latte is staying on top and mm, it's not dissipating the way that my other one does. So I keep having it all over me as well. All right. So today I thought what we'd do is I'd use some quotes from probably um, the lady who was best known for her one-liners. She was of my era rather than the next generation. And her name was Phyllis Diller. Very funny lady with incredibly funny hair and an insane laugh. She was known for her insane laugh. So if you, um, let me just write her name so you can see it. So I thought, seeing as she was fun, and that we would just spend a little bit of time with some of her quotes. If we run out of quotes, then I've got some backup ones that I will go to. So she started off by saying, a smile is a curve that sets everything straight. How many of you agree with that one? That you can be in a real difficult situation And then if you can just smile or see a smile, it's like it just completely changes the dynamic. And so I want you to remember it this week that, you have the ability to change anything just with a smile. And I noticed that the more that we text and the more that we do things via social media, the less we actually get to see one another in some ways, unless you're doing FaceTime or watching broadcasts like this. But you don't get to see that interaction the way that we used to. And by the way, when I was watching something this afternoon, I saw Dr. Sanjay Gupta say something about what's happening to our necks and backs because of social media. You know, we're hanging our, if this is your head, we're hanging our heads too much at this angle because we're busy texting, which I'm sure makes sense to all of you. And he was saying, make a point of getting your chins up and getting your ears in line with your shoulders, at least a couple of times every half hour, to stop this happening, because what's happening is we are changing the whole dynamic of how we stand. The other thing I found is if you take your hands and link them like this behind your back, just try that. Just link them behind your back and then stretch them down. Now, I found that that's just about the right position to be at. It's totally different, isn't it? But also it gets your shoulders back again, and it gets your back straightened up. And then I actually just see how far I can get my head back some days just to make sure that I'm doing that. But, even I find even when I'm broadcasting, my head is still at this sort of angle. So I thought I'd just mention that to you. Just try stretching like that and just, stretch out those shoulder muscles in a different way every now and then. It'll help you. Phyllis said, aim high and you won't shoot your foot off. Yeah, story of my life. Now, this is a quote I can totally resonate with. And she said, I want my children to have all the things I could not afford. And then I want to move in with them. I think there are an awful lot of people of my age that are going, yeah, I actually should have done a better job at getting my children to be self-sufficient. And it's even worse for those of us like myself who I don't have any children. So it's just like, really, it's a funny feeling at this age. And now, this reminded me of Linda in the UK. Because Phyllis said, my recipe for dealing with anger and frustration is to set the kitchen timer for 20 minutes, cry, rant, brave, and at the sound of the bell, simmer down and get back to business as usual. I want to tell you that that is such a good idea, except I would make it 10 minutes, not 20. It is such a good idea to limit yourself to the amount of time that you can be having a pity party. And by the way, Suzanne, while I think about it, where are you from? And how did you find us, if you're still there? Those are two things I'd like to know. So I want to tell you, I am really aware of limiting the amount of time I'm allowed to be upset now. And that's thanks to Linda talking about the fact that she has a 10-minute rule in her house. And it works, you will be as upset as you want to be. I was thinking between the two broadcasts, Jody, I was thinking about the fact that why is it that fasting is easier than counting calories or watching carbs? And the only thing I can come up with is it's a you just have to wait until you can eat, and then you can eat, and you don't have to worry as much. And because the time in which you eat is shorter, it automatically limits a lot of your snacks and stuff out of there. And especially if you happen to be doing a couple of broadcasts in between. This one is becoming more relevant to me at this age. Yeah, that's right. Less work. Have you found that as well, Lauren? Lauren, meet Suzanne. I think she's still in the room. Have you found that as well? That it's actually easier than the other side of it. You're from Los Angeles, and you found me from Benji and Judy. There you go. Right. When I've been down there visiting, I was just seeing that. Is it Mia that just hurt her foot, the poor thing? I'm going to be seeing Benji tomorrow, Suzanne. So we're going to have dinner together. He's up my way. He's, you know, and so we're going to have dinner together. I'm very excited about that. So here's what Phyllis said. She said, you know, when you're old, when somebody compliments you on your alligator shoes and you are barefoot, you know, uh, I have found as I get older, other than the fact that my face, you know, is getting better all the time, thanks to my beauty regimen. But, you know, it's like I'm really getting aware of my hands, and I'm trying to, you know, sort of be more aware of getting, you know, that moisturizer all the way down, and really doing a good job of moisturizing my neck and everything. But, you know, I definitely have done a good job on my face. I have to say that. But, you know, if there are other parts of my body that I'm going, I think I'm going to need to pay them a bit more attention. They're getting a little bit crepey now. And the other thing, Suzanne, I don't know, you probably don't know this, but both Jody and Lauren, both in the room at the moment, the three of us are all doing fasting at the moment. We're doing varying degrees of fasting. I'm actually doing 18-hour fasts. Well, today was only 15 because of the broadcast, but I'm doing 18 hours. Lauren, you're doing 19, I believe. And Jody is doing, what are you on now, Jody? You're back onto the 70-hour or something? And it's actually amazing. We were saying how it's actually easier than you think it is. Plus, if I'm correct, I'm already beginning to show signs of it. You know, I'm already beginning to lose weight from it in inches. Now then, you're doing between 48 and 70, depending on what's going on in your life. And when did you start doing the fasting, Jody, just so that we get an idea? All right, so Lauren's saying she's doing a fast for as long as possible today. She's up to 18 already. That's amazing. Yeah, have you had a chance to discuss that with your doctor yet, Lauren? You started on May the 4th. Boy, you know exactly when you started it. So that's May, June. It's only a month away. Wow, and you're already up to 48, and you know, all the way through to 70 hours. So what do you do? So many days at 48 and then a 70? Phyllis Diller said, always be nice to your children because they are the ones who will choose your rest home. I don't know. All right, so you see, and there's the other thing. Lauren has spoken to her doctor, and the doctor said, yes, it's all fine unless she starts to feel unwell. I saw something, Lauren, it's funny, I was doing a bit of checking on it, and I saw that there was quite a warning if you're over 70. You know, I'm going, yeah, well, only in chronological age, not in anything else, right? All right, so you just do it if you feel like doing more, you do, Jody. Okay, that's interesting. So you don't force yourself. It's just if you can, you go as far as you can, which is what Lauren is now, you know, going to see how far she can go. I must admit, Lauren, I agree with you. I found earlier this week, I probably could happily have done a couple more hours, but then you run into, when am I actually going to eat? That was my next problem. So I don't know whether Suzanne, have you got any need to lose weight at all, or are you a thin person? Just so that you know, Suzanne, both Jody and Lauren are wheelchair bound for the most part. And so they don't have the advantage of being able to get out and exercise the same way. However, if we're going into summer, that means that Lauren, she's sitting in Tasmania at the bottom of Australia. So if we're going into summer today, happy summer, that means that Lauren's going into winter. So Lauren, I was thinking maybe even get out and wheel a bit outside while you can before it gets too cold. And yeah, Lauren's saying that she's had a few days like that. Their bodies are just getting used to it. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't find I'm really confused, quite honestly, that I'm not getting the cravings for food. Oh, so the weather's already what's it raining there now? It's cold all day. Okay, fine. You're not going out anymore. um Yeah, because they don't make warm clothes or, but it is funny, isn't it? How I do the same thing where I go, no, it's too cold to go out now. Phyllis said, my cooking is so bad that my kids thought that Thanksgiving was to commemorate Pearl Harbor. I don't know why I found that really funny, having seen Pearl Harbor. And yeah, Jody, you were saying that you've had some pretty tough weather your way. Just so that Suzanne knows, Jody's sitting in New Hampshire, which is very different weather from LA. And I am sitting, of course, in southern British Columbia. And as I said, Lauren is sitting in Tasmania, that little bit at the bottom of Australia. And so, yeah, we're very, very geographically challenged today. You need to lose a couple of pounds. Okay, so we're here to encourage you to look up something. Look up something called intermittent fasting. I don't know if you've got any health issues. If you have, talk to your doctor first, obviously. Hi, Sharon. All right, so Sharon, meet Suzanne. She's from LA, and she came to us via Benji and Judy's channel. Always a pleasure to get people from there. And Sharon, just explain to Suzanne where you're from and your age, if you can, roughly. Like what decade are you from? Just so that she knows, gets a feel for the age group in the room. We have some fun people come in. Suzanne, you've had tornado warnings and about 6 inches of rain. Wow. I noticed that Kerry was complaining of temperatures close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And she's in Kansas, I think. So the weather's really weird. I've got a beautiful summer day here. I don't have any complaints at all. Phyllis Diller also said, it's a good thing that beauty is only skin deep, or I'd be rotten to the core. And she said, I asked a waiter, is this milk fresh? And he said, lady, 3 hours ago, it was grass. One of my absolute favorites from her was this one. She said, housework can't kill you, but why take the chance? Oh, there you go. I'm struggling here, Sharon, because I want to make a comment about the fact that I believe that Ray Moore is going to put himself up. He's from your neck of the woods, right? He's going to try running again. Scary, scary. Okay, you turn 60. Spring chicken, Sharon. You've been a widow for almost 10 years, so you are learning how to, life is different, right? And you're going to be a great grandmother in 10 days. Is that just so exciting? Or how do you feel about it? Are you excited about that? Like beyond being a grandmother? I think it's wonderful when you can actually see the generations. I love watching the Queen, but they've moved to Florida. Are you going down to see them, or what's the story, Sharon? There are some people, Sharon, who would tell you that is the best arrangement ever. So you get to absolutely spoil them. Yeah, that's right. So you're gonna go down and visit after the baby arrives. All right, they're gonna help out a bit. You are a good person. Phyllis said that the best way to get rid of kitchen odors is to eat out. Oh, Jody, I wanted to show you something. Hang on a second. So, Jody, the drying gods did a good job. I am pleased to say that I did a back and front for my notepad that I've got, and obviously, what I noticed was that when I painted it, as you can see, it buckled slightly, but when I paint the underside, it will straighten it out again. So I'm not worried about that. And if that doesn't work, then I will just put it, once it's totally, totally dry, I will put it underneath some heavier things. But normally it just flattens out quite nicely. But you can imagine that as a book, a notebook. So, whoops. Apparently I got my hair painted in there as well. So you can see that as a notebook. So I'm quite happy with that. So, good, 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 good. Sharon says, I like the sound of eating out. Last night I cooked fresh veggies for a meal. Took forever to clean up. Yeah, actually, have you ever seen this method of, what's it called? Arc, I think. I think it's called arc. Hang on. This is always very difficult for me. Hi, Nana. Yeah, I think it's called an arc system. And let me show you how it works. Okay, so meat Nana, meet Suzanne. She's from LA. And what is your off-topic something? Yes, it is called ARC, people. So it comes like this, but the interesting thing is that it has these little discs that hold it all together. So, which is unusual. So for example, the notebook, when I put it back together again, I've got a day timer in this as well, but I just, you can buy extra discs and I have the punch. Hang on, let me see if I can do this quickly. Nothing quick about doing it when you're online. Okay, Nana, what's the off-topic subject before I carry on? Right. Yes, that's very true. I don't drink pop, but I definitely know that a lot of people have said the same thing, Nana, that stopping the pop is a really good way to go. Yeah. I've stopped the sugar as well, yeah. My problem, yeah. But it's just a case of I think Jody said it correctly when she said, I think it's different things for different people, Nana. So if you're a pop drinker, it's a really good idea to give up the pop. Okay, people, so that turns out to be, it just ends up being a little notebook. So I think it's different things for different people. My problem is that, I really was, I think Jody will tell you, I was really good about counting my carbs and everything and keeping them below 50%, but I wasn't shifting weight enough. So I needed something else. Yes, Sharon's saying that she found that as well. And Lauren, I think, has also given up drinking pop. So Suzanne, if you're trying to lose a few pounds and you're drinking pop, stop it. The other thing is this, I do recommend to people, if you are a carbonated drink person, in other words, you do like pop, it's really, I think it's a good idea to actually get a soda stream. So you can make your own carbonated water, but you haven't got all the sugars and everything else. Makes sense? So consider that. But what I really have to say, and I'm going to be very interested to see if the intermittent fasting makes that much difference. I would think in a month I'm going to know. Was there anything else, Nana, while you've got the floor? Nana, I saw that you made a comment, of course, about the vlog I put down at lunchtime about the plastics. And yes, I understand that you think it's the responsibility of the manufacturers to package differently. But the only time that the manufacturers will change is if the consumer is by boycotting their way of packaging. So, for example, what makes manufacturers change is they're losing market share. So, for example, in the old days when we had remember the old toothpaste tubes that were so difficult to use, and then one person, Colgate, I think, came up with the fancy new tube. everybody was buying Colgate because they wanted that fancy tube that you didn't have to keep rolling up and doing funny things with. It forced the whole industry to move to those tubes. What if you watch the video on Netflix? All right, just saying in 2022, Canada's not going to be selling bottled water. Yay, that was part of the discussion, right? So that was part of the discussion today. And that's, that's an incredible help to the system. But what I did is, and on the video, I actually put a link, or rather put the name of the video that I saw, and that I recommend everybody watch, because it really is an eye-opener. And it's like there were so many different parts of it that I kept going, oh my gosh, that's incredible. So the name of it is underneath, in the notes section of the live stream, the replay of it. You'll see, I put the link in the notes section. Jody, can you remind me? I need to put it into the resource page as well. You didn't see the whole thing. Okay, that's fine. That's probably why. I actually, what I said, Nana, just so that you understand, one of the things that I talked about is, if you have a choice between a washing powder that is in a plastic container or a washing powder that is in a cardboard box, go for the box. All right. Basically, that's how we can, how we can help. If you've got, I was saying with Jody uses sweeteners in her coffee. If you have the choice between a sweetener that is in a plastic container or one that's in a cardboard one, take the one that's packaged in cardboard, unless you have to have it. Jody was saying, if you buy milk, think about buying the Tetra Pak rather than buying the plastic bottle. All right. So, that was basically the discussion. There are ways in which we can help. I'm trying to understand why you commented. You saying that's why I commented. A Tetra Pak, those ones that the children's juice boxes are made of. In other words, they're not plastic. They are coated paper. Called a Tetra Pak. I'm not sure what you call them. Anyway, there was a lot of good information on there, and I hope you get a chance to watch it, because I know that we discussed a lot of really good ideas, I think. And the thing is this, that I'm pretty certain that, some of the ideas you're already doing, but there were lots of new ones for those who wanted it. And of course, while I've done this, my whole thing about Phyllis Diller has just moved. Okay, I think I got it back now. I've got to find out where we were. Right, now then. Phyllis said the reason women don't play football very much is because getting 11 of them, you'd never get 11 of them to agree to wear the same outfit in public. How many of you can see that one going down? But something that I know, you can get 11 women wearing exactly the same outfit and they'd all look totally different in it, right? That's what I love about clothes. You can give the same clothing to two different people, and the way that they dress it up, dress it down, do whatever with it, you're going, wow, I can't believe that's the same outfit, but it is. Phyllis Diller said that cleaning your house while the children are growing up is like shoveling a walkway before it stops snowing. For those of you who've had children, I'm sure that you will relate to that one. It's a never-ending tornado. Now, this one I've got to describe a bit just to make sure that you can understand it. You know what a scenic check is? I just need to make sure you understand what a scenic check is before I tell this next one-liner. You know, they're the checks that have got a picture of something on it, like flowers or skyline or whatever. That's called a scenic check. So she said, Phyllis Diller said, "There's so little money in my bank account. My scenic checks show a ghetto." And how many of you? Hi there, Pat. Good to see you. Hey, Pat, are you camping this weekend? And please meet Suzanne. She's from LA, and she came to us via Benji and Judy's channel, just so that you know. I'm trying to think, did she give us an age, roughly? Don't think so. But good to see you. You're in Boston. For good reasons, I hope. When I think Boston, I think the hospital for some reason. Why am I thinking that? Of course, because you now have a doctor in the house. How is she doing? Give her a hug from me, please. So you're 43 and you have 3 children. Well done. She graduated. Well, as I'm saying, please give her a hug from me, Pat, and tell her I'm so proud of her. And I'll be able to say I knew her when. And if ever I'm in need of help, I know to go to Boston, right? Now, just so Suzanne understands this, you know, Pat lives like 3 time zones into the Atlantic Ocean. She lives out in Newfoundland. And how many hours are you ahead of New York, Pat? It's 1 or 2 time zones away from New York, isn't it? It always amazes me how far into the Atlantic it actually goes. Actually, maybe the easiest thing is to ask you, what time is it? Oh, you don't know because you're in Boston. Yeah, that's right. 1.5 time zones past New York. I don't think many people realize that. Yeah, that's, it's incredible to me. Anyway, she lives on this island of Newfoundland, and the incredible thing was that her daughter ended up being headhunted from, I think, just about every major university in the States, if I'm right there, Pat. They all wanted her, right? She had a lineup of universities trying to get her to join. Which I don't know why. To me, it was like, it's always nice when your kid is headhunted by a university. When you come from, an island, you're 5 time zones, 5 hours away from me. Yeah. And even the UK. She said she's 43, Nana. If you just look up a little bit, she's 43 and has 3 kids. So anyway, I think it's absolutely incredible. And so she's actually, I can't believe she's graduated already. Oh, what age are the children? All right, got it. All right. Phyllis said that Burt Reynolds asked me out once. I was in his room. Yeah. Actually, that whole era of those comics, I've got to say something that maybe I am just totally old school, but the days that comedians could be funny without using a whole lot of bad language. I miss those days. I don't know if any of you do, but it's like, you know, somehow or other, the whole thing, it used to be just so much fun to listen to comedians, and now you have to be so careful as to which ones you listen to. She said that anytime three New Yorkers get into a cab without an argument, a bank has just been robbed. you know? And for those of you who remember Phyllis, she did have this incredible laugh about her, and she laughed from her stomach. You know what I mean? She didn't just sort of laugh; she just totally laughed with her whole body. And she said that her father used to call her the laughing hyena, and that's not a bad thing. That means she laughed a lot, even as a child. She said that whatever you may look like, marry a man of your own age. As your beauty fades, so will his eyesight. You have some good news, Aaron. Yeah, Jody's saying it required more skill not to be vulgar. Yes. And control, I think. So also, Erin, we'd like you to meet Suzanne, who's from LA. She's 43 and has 3 children and came to us from Benji and Judy's channel. All right, and we'll give Erin a bit of time because, it takes her a bit longer to get the information into her system, so it will print out for us. In the meantime, Phyllis Diller used to call her husband Fang. And she said, I've been asked to say a couple of words about my husband Fang. How about short and cheap? I like that. All right, so there, I went down to only having my blood sugar checked once a day. And as of yesterday, the only reason they're checking it is once is because sometimes it's too low in the morning. Wow, Erin. Okay, so Suzanne, just so that you know, Erin has had a lot of problem with her blood sugar, and that is incredible. That means things are working again. You must be so happy to hear that, Erin. After all the poking and prodding and tests that they've done on you, that is truly wonderful news. We're very pleased to hear it. And I know that you've got the biopsy coming up soon, next week. So, hi, Nyasha. Good to see you. Nyasha, please meet Suzanne. Suzanne joins us from LA. She's 43, has 3 children, and also lives in LA. Okay. Yeah. So, and Pat's sitting in Boston with her daughter Heidi, who just became a doctor. Now, that makes me smile because that makes me think of Jenny Jen because Jenny Jen was in Boston. It's Boston Jen, right? The hospital. Isn't that funny that as soon as you said Boston, I thought of the hospital, not the airport, Logan, which I know very well. But it's funny, my immediate thought went to the hospital, so I'm glad I got it right. You must be so proud of her. And by the way, she must be so proud. Is she going to specialize in anything particular that I've forgotten about? Pat? Yeah, it's really amazing. I helped her. Yeah, well, thank you. I did. I did try and help her, that's for sure. I'm glad that she feels that I did, or that you do. That's the main thing. You know, it's funny. I just had somebody who I helped about 10 years ago who flew in from Hong Kong, and he was in Canada for literally a couple of days. And oh, it's Mass General. That's right. But it is general. Yeah, that's right. I sort of got it half right. Um, she is senior scientist at a drug company. Wow. That is pretty darn awesome. Well, you know, it was really funny, Pat, because this guy that I helped 10 years ago, he came into Vancouver for a couple of days and literally took the time to come and visit me when he had all this family of his own that he needed to visit. But he um, made the special trip out to visit me and stayed for about 4 or 5 hours. I was quite surprised. All right, so your A1C was down to 4.3. Wow. So it was all the steroids that were raising your blood sugar. Yeah, let's see what happens after Wednesday, right? One day at a time. So enjoy this week, while you can, Erin. Yeah, she graduated from Harvard, and she could have graduated from anywhere in just about anywhere in the world that she chose to. She was that good. Pat, it more than warmed my heart. It's a bit like you thanking me for helping her, because to me, I really did so little. But it's like, it's amazing. People don't forget. And when I first met that young man, he was really having a problem. And I gave him a 2x4 or two. Suzanne, do you know what a DearMamaSal 2x4 is? No. It's just that she's new to the broadcast, Niasha. So I wanted you to understand that she had just joined in on the broadcast, and you wouldn't recognize her name. So that's why I was telling you a little bit of background for you. Okay, so a 2x4 is if ever I want to tell somebody what I consider to be a little bit of truth, right? As Sharon says, I always will say to you, I'm about to hit you with a 2x4. Do I have your permission? Because what I will do is, if I hear that you are actually BSing yourself about something, that's what I will ask. And then I will come out with the truth if you give me permission to. But it's really funny how many people thank me for the truth. That's the peculiar thing. And I've got people who pride themselves in the fact of how many bruises they got from my 2x4s, but it did wake them up so that they understood. Yes. For example, I was saying in a vlog earlier this week, that I was, I can talk to somebody and say, well, you know what it's like when you're obese. And they will say, you're not obese. And I go, actually, yes, I am. I don't kid myself anymore that I'm a little overweight. I am obese. That's what I am. I'm working on it, but that's where I'm at. And, so to me, it's like, let's stop kidding ourselves and let's be okay with the labels. Because it's all it is. It's a label. And it's I personally don't get upset with it when people, it's a fact. Right, Jody. You've been obese for a long time now with your illness, and Lauren, how long have you been obese? Quite a while. All right. So you look at it and you go, the greatest freedom is when you can just go, okay, fine, that's what I am. Oh, you have Pat as well, but Pat, you got rid of yours. Gee, thank you, Sharon. So anyway, why was I talking about the two? Oh, because this young man, I hit him with a number of 2x4s. He was arrogant. He really was arrogant when I met him, and he had a lot of issues going on. And I told him that. And I said, if I never see you, again, I need you to know a couple of things, because it's time for you to understand that it's going to affect your life if you don't start working on them. And I couldn't believe it. 10 years later, he walked into my house and he was a different, he really was a totally different young man. And I cried. I was sitting and he was talking to me and the tears were rolling down my eyes, because it was so wonderful to see him. And he said to me, I was pretty arrogant, wasn't I? I said, just a tad, yeah. And he said, you were the only one that had the guts to tell me so. And I said, well, I am known for that. Don't ever ask for my opinion, because I will give it. It's very interesting. Phyllis Diller said, my children threaten at times to run away from home. This is the only thing that keeps some parents going. Don't take it personally, anybody. The reason the pro golfer tells you to keep your head down is so you can't watch him laughing. And Phyllis said, we spend the first 12 months of our children's lives teaching them to walk and talk, and then we spend the next 12 telling them to sit down and shut up. So true. By the way, Suzanne, Niesha lives in Tobago, which is the other island, connected to, well, not connected literally, but, it's the country is Trinidad and Tobago together, the two islands. So that's an unusual place in the world to come from. So we find it very interesting. How many of you can relate to this one? She said, I buried a lot of my ironing in the backyard. Do any of you still iron? And if so, what? I'm really having a problem with this skim milk. Okay, but you do some things. So what is it that you still iron, Nana? That's what I'm interested in. All right, so Rick shirts once in a while. Okay, fine. Anybody else? Does anybody else iron for themselves? All right, Pat, that's called selective. She doesn't iron anything except the material she needs for her quilting. Oh, if you're going out, then you will iron. That's right. It's interesting. It was funny because Yvonne, bless her heart, Yvonne Suzanne is my tenant of 20 years, who's also my very dear friend now. And she brought up a top that she'd bought, and she said, Sal, it says not to wash this. And I said, let me have a look at it. Let me have a look at it. So I had a look at it and I said, okay, wear it enough times so that you're happy with it. And then I said, and once you've done that, here's what I recommend you do. Because I said, I don't have anything in my wardrobe that I can't wash. I just wash them in slightly different ways. And, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've learned to wash just about any material now. That's interesting, Erin. Your daddy did all the ironing for the family. because your mum hated to do it. Isn't that, he definitely did so much, all right? I just I just stand in awe of that man. Yes, they have the dry cleaner things for your dryer as well. Yes, I've got those. I call dry all here in Canada. Um, but it's just like most materials. I've learned how to wash them. I even wash silk and things. You still haven't started your quilts, Sharon? I just, something, I made this incredibly beautiful quilt for myself, sort of. I never did fix it. Is the drywall effective? Yes, I've only ever used it once, I think, or twice. But the worst thing about it, Jude, is that it's scary to use in as much as you're going, I don't want to throw this good stuff into my dryer at high heat. This is like, or whatever heat they tell you you're going. That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. And yet it did work. Just so that Suzanne knows that Pat is our quilter. She is a serious quilter. Let me tell you how serious. Pat has a $10,000 type quilting machine in her house. So, yeah. Yes, and that's the whole thing. That's why everybody should have a hobby like that. And that's what I'm saying, that if you haven't got a hobby, Nana paints and Jody, draws, amongst other things, it's really important to balance out your brain. All right, so you've been under a lot of pressure, so you've been crocheting baby blankets. Good use of your time. The thing is, it keeps your mind occupied, Sharon, on something other than whatever's causing the stress. Yeah. So, everybody, it doesn't really matter whether you make quilts or whether you paint or whether you throw paint or whatever you do. It's just like, it's really important to have something um, to use your right brain. It's that simple. Oh, that's a good idea. Nyasha likes to create useful things out of cardboard boxes. What sort of things, Nyasha? I've got one piece of artwork, big one that's hanging up in my house, that I did on cardboard 30 years ago. And I framed it, and it's still there, and it's still framed. Nobody would ever know that that was done on cardboard. It's amazing. I love people who turn cardboard into useful things. And by the way, the other thing I would really recommend is, the incredible use of magazine racks. Those sort of, they look like a half cut cereal box. In fact, you can use cereal boxes for it as well. But it's amazing, use them to store plates, and there are just so many things that you can use them for. I keep saran wrap and stuff like that in my cupboard. I keep it contained inside a magazine rack. When I say a magazine rack, I mean, wait. I could go and get it, but then, okay. Pen. Like a magazine rack that's like this, and then it comes down like this. Do you know what I'm talking about? Sort of looks something like this. And then I just store all my different Ziplocs and what do you call them? Um, saran wrap and stuff like that. I just put them in there. Keeps them all beautifully contained within a cupboard. All right, she loved phones and such. She needed a storage box to store them in, so I created a zip-like case to keep them in out of cardboard. Good idea. And what did you cover the cardboard with anything, Nyasha? We love recycling and reusing. Love it when people tell us their stories on things like that. I also have magazine things in the corners of my cupboards for that I can put plates on. It's amazing, actually, the things you can do with those. I could almost do a whole broadcast on ways to use a magazine rack. And the thing is this, that they're so cheap in the dollar store. And, you know, I get the metal ones because they last longer than anything else. But they really work. Very useful container. So, Nyasha, do you cover your cardboard when you're making these things? Or do you paint it, or do you just leave it as raw cardboard? I saw something, Nyasha, that you might find interesting. I saw that if you take aluminum foil, you know, that from the kitchen, and you cover, you know, you crumple it up a bit, and then you use it to cover a box. It's amazing that it looks like a silver box. May want to try that on one experiment. I saw somebody do that with a box, and you're going, wow, I can't believe what that looked like. So you crumple it up because you want it all creased and everything. And then it makes it look like a carved silver. It's amazing, you know, very clever and very cheap way to do it. So does anybody else you know what I use my cardboard boxes for? Any boxes that come cardboard boxes that I get wheat thins or stuff like that, and I keep them and I put my compostable stuff in there, potato peels and banana peels and stuff like that. Um, because that, again, it contains it really nicely. And then I have it in my organic container, but it just keeps it all nicely together, and it's easy to pull out the box and take it down and throw it in the garbage or in the recycling. So Niesha's saying it took her 3 days, hot glue gun, a zipper, etc. Oh, you've put a zipper on it as well. So you bought a big bag. So what size is this box that you've made? Or this case? What size is it? Yeah, I think, it's really interesting. What I love. Oh, so you use the ones that come from the supermarket. Good girl. And any use for those things is a good use. I'm going to be doing my packing into those. When I start packing, I've been keeping all those bags so that I can use them to put put air around places in boxes and things to protect my stuff. Yeah. The question that I asked at lunchtime, and I'm still trying to get the answer, is how many of you buy your produce loose? In other words, you don't buy the pre-packaged stuff. How many of you buy loose potatoes, loose tomatoes, loose strawberries, loose whatever? And if so, what do you put them in? Okay. You were talking crazy that process, and I remember. Start writing again. Yes, please do, Erin. And you found an app that will write. Do you know that Google app will write for you, Erin? Google. Um, hang on. What's it called? Hang on. I'll get it for you. I've just got to remember it. In Google Drive, you've got a number of different programs, one of which is a write program, a document program. Now, that document program, it actually has a talk to write program in it. Did you know that? Okay, now I've got to get you back again. I had to look. Erin, did you know that? That the Google Drive, they've got the presentation and the slides. They've got slides and they've got an Excel type program there called Sheets. And they've got a document writer. And that document writer, you can turn on the Google Assistant and it will type for you. You just talk to it and it will type. So you can use that as a journal if you want to. I think that would be lovely, Nyasha, to send a picture and let me know if I can share it with the viewers because they love to see things like that. It doesn't matter if your device camera isn't very good, right? It's about people like to get the idea. I'm pretty sure that I don't have too many viewers that are going to be complaining about the quality of the picture. What they're interested in is, what did you do? So, Suzanne, are you creative at all? I honestly believe that people who are lucky enough to have creativity, whether that's music or art or whatever, definitely cope better with life in so many ways because they have an outlet. And I also really believe that if you have the ability to laugh, which is why we do, a little bit of smiling on Friday evenings, is if you have the ability to be able to smile at yourself and others, it really also helps sort of balance things out a bit. And the most important thing is to know what does it for you. All right, so Suzanne, the fact that what do you do to when you're overwhelmed or when you are really upset? What do you do to calm yourself down? Well, I am delighted, Erin, that you found something that works for you. That's the main thing. It doesn't really matter what you use as long as it works for you. You listen to music to calm yourself down. You see, again, that's using your right brain, not your left, and that's really important. I have a thing where I watch television with my eyes closed. Do any of you know that feeling? Where literally I will turn on something on Netflix that I know is an ongoing, it's got a season or something, and I'll just put the first episode on, and I'll fall fast asleep. And then, luckily it turns itself off sometime after, normally after about 1.5 episodes, it turns itself off. But, it's just like I will actually say I'm about to go and watch television with my eyes closed or watch my computer with my eyes closed. There's something about listening to that. So you use Google Assistant is now even for your text messages, even in here. That is great. So there's no point in telling you about that. You know all about it. And you know what I was thinking, though? It was funny. I was thinking between the two broadcasts. I was hearing about a town, if you can imagine this. I got to show you this. And it's somewhere in the south in the US. and I'm not sure where it is, but they've got a cell tower, one of these cell towers, and its range is to here. And this woman has a business just outside the range of the cell tower. And can you imagine today? I mean, literally in today's reality, can you imagine trying to run a business where you haven't got an internet connection? Where you actually you can't use the internet. Can you imagine trying to do that? And what they're saying now, it's got to the point where internet needs to be a no-brainer. Everybody needs to be able to have it, not just a chosen few. And she said, if I could just move my house, 400 yards to the left, I'd have internet, but I can't move my house. And I thought that was, you can imagine. I've been to places where I had to walk up the hill to get a signal, but I cannot imagine trying to run a business without internet. For those of you who have children, can you imagine not being able to talk to your children via the internet, or your grandchildren? It's just like we are so spoiled now. We are so connected that it would be almost impossible. Jody, I laugh because I keep saying that you created the monster of Lauren and I fasting, and you're going to need to answer the questions if you care to. But it's like we can check those answers ourselves, but you are quicker than Google. So it's like, why would I bother with Google? Jody will give me the answer in a heartbeat. But I wouldn't have Dr. Jody to advise me if I didn't have the internet. So I am so grateful. I keep thinking about when I was growing up. Yeah. It's like, how did we live without Google and YouTube and Netflix? And, it's just like, we did things, really. We used to go out and meet people and go out for dinner. And now that I think about it, that's what we did. We actually had different ways of entertaining ourselves. It is so funny. I just wanted to let you know that Yvonne just got her second order from Amazon. And I went, congratulations, welcome to our world. And I said, I know it sounds really strange, but you will find that you can save money by shopping at Amazon. And it's not about their prices. It's about the fact you don't impulse buy at the store where you're going to buy whatever it is. I don't have any of you found that? It's just like, okay, I need this. I'll just quickly go and order this. I very rarely buy an impulse buy on Amazon, whereas I would in a store. And that's the difference for me. So I allow myself to get these things. I'm trying to imagine, what did I get this week? It's in a small box. Can't remember. Anyway, but it's, I just don't know what we would do. Now I'm into Wish as well. How many of you use Wish? And I am still, honestly, have to say that everything I've ordered from Wish so far, I have liked. Yes. Okay. So Nyasha, I'm so glad that I got you listening to the audiobooks. And because you remember what I said to you, that even though you fall asleep, your brain is still processing what the audiobooks are saying, right? You found that difficult to believe, but they have proven that to be true. So even though you're asleep, your subconscious mind will still keep listening to you probably won't remember it, but it's in there. So the next time you listen, you'll go, oh, I think I've heard that before. Well, guess why? You have. Yes, Sharon, what did you buy from Wish? I'm trying to remember what I got. Oh, I got my wallet from Wish. I loved it. I got a really useful wallet. And I got something else recently that I was very happy with. I keep thinking it's going to be a load of junk, and it isn't. So I'm starting to look now for other items from Wish because they're even cheap. Flip-flops. Thank you very much, Jody. You're right. I bought flip-flops from Wish. You have a good memory, Jody. Your two brain cells are going in the right direction today. That's amazing. Actually, I'm wearing one of them. If I can get down that far. Ugh. Yeah, I bought these from Wish. So basic summer flip-flops, but really nice quality. Very pleased with them. All right, so Sharon's bought cake coloring and icing bags. Okay, love those. Erin's saying, can you imagine my life? Help pouring it will be so easy connected now that my dad. Yes, that's so true, Erin. That being able to connect with your dad now is so important to you. We couldn't have done that without the internet. Yeah, really important to know. By the way, for those of you who weren't watching the noontime broadcast, the other thing I did was I explained to the viewers that one of the things that I have done is I have stopped buying panty liners, and I now have reusable ones. And I did an experiment with them just so that you could see how much water they would actually take in. But I want to tell you something. That is one thing that I have changed this year. And I cannot believe that it took me this long to just try them. And I am so glad that I did. It just has made so much difference to my garbage, quite honestly. All right, so Erin, yes, I cannot imagine what it would be like for you not to be able to call your daddy on FaceTime or Skype or whatever it is that you're using. Yeah, it's like that is the greatest gift, that we've been given, is that level of communication. We don't have to use it, right? We can still just hear the voice. We don't have to turn the camera on, but we can connect at that level. It's quite funny. I'm trying to convince Benji, when he wants to talk to me on the computer rather than on the telephone. And the reason is, if he talks to me on the computer, I can put my headphones on and I hear beautifully, because these are really good headphones. As you know, they're high quality headphones. And being deaf, when he calls me on the telephone, I can't hear him as well, or anybody else that phones, quite honestly. But if he phones me via Hangouts or something, or if he video chats with me and I've got my headphones on, I don't have any problem at all. I can hear him really well. So we are very lucky to have that. And I give thanks for that almost every day. I'm thinking about the fact that I can sit and do a broadcast just turn on that technology. If you had told me 10 years ago that I would be able to edit videos and do this, that, and the other, yeah, I would have said, yeah, right. And I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I went back and rebought the editing program I originally had, because I really enjoyed it, and I got angry with something that they did to me a few years ago. And after a while, I said, something, I want to go back and get that program again, because I liked it much better. It had way more things that I could play with, and that made editing fun. Yes, Nyasha, you see, that's the whole thing. That's part of why I love the internet. We get to educate people as well, right? You never knew there was such a thing as an audiobook. Yes, now you can read as much as you want to. And, the wonderful thing is that even if your eyesight gets worse, Nyasha, you are still going to be able to read. All right? You can read as much as you like. You can study as much as you like. All right, it's all available to you. And the other thing, I hope that you also have seen, because of a couple of links that I've sent to you, that you can, you can do any university course you want to as well. It's amazing the things that are available. So big hug. I'm glad that we were able to help you with that. You see, that's the whole thing in life. If you don't know these things are possible, oh, it's our pleasure, Nyasha. It's what we do, right? We help one another, right? We take it for granted. We sort of sitting here going, well, didn't you download an audiobook? And I was so delighted that you actually got Codependent No More. All right. Well done. That's Melody Beattie, right? I was so pleased that you downloaded that book. And isn't it interesting to listen to it? So, you keep, you will learn so much. Yes, it takes time to do, but you be able to just keep yourself. You've got a good brain on you, Nyasha. So the thing is this, you need to keep it entertained. Otherwise it'll do terrible things to you, right? You've been there and done that. So, one of the things, Nyasha, I'm going to give you an analogy. Do you know what an analogy is? I used to have a really, really smart German Shepherd dog. And one thing the trainer said to me is, Sal, whatever you do, keep making or getting this dog to do things for you. Make games a challenge for him. Don't just take him out for walks. Literally train him to do clever things, because if you don't use a clever dog's mind, they will get up to trouble. They will start digging, they will start doing things that will just make your life very difficult. And Jody, if you remember, one of the things I said when you got the fluff ball is, yes, that's right, yeah, sure, you got it. Analogy is like a comparison. It's something that looks like this. Well done. So, when you got the fluff ball, Jody, one of my things was, you're going to need to keep that little thing entertained, because it's got a brain. And how many toys can it recognize now, Jody? One of the things I suggested to Jody was that she start literally telling, not go get your toy, but tell him which toy, the alligator or the piggy or whatever, because they will get it. If you train them that this is the pig. She's up to 5 already. Well done, Jody. And there is one dog that I believe he can identify by name over 2,000 toys. And the interesting thing is that when the guy went in there to go test it, some television guy went in there, and what he did is he brought a totally new toy. Right. So, after he'd done all the tests and the dog picked up all the right toys, he then threw his toy into the pile and said, go get Jasmine, whatever he called the toy. And, that dog went through the pile and he went looking for something he didn't recognize, because he didn't recognize that name. Therefore, he needed to find something he didn't recognize. That dog was that smart. And, in a matter of seconds, he found a toy he didn't recognize, and he picked it up and he brought it back and went. Out of 2,000 toys, he just knew that was a name he didn't recognize. And therefore, he just had to find that toy he didn't recognize. But you imagine over 2,000 toys by name, and little Fluffball, his head is this big. How big is his brain? That Fluffball can already identify 5 toys by name. So proud of you, Jody. And Jody, how excited does he get to show you how smart he is? I hope that he enjoys the game, because most dogs love to show you how smart they are. And that's really part of it. They love to please you. So anytime that they can, that's really important. Now, there's some of you going, what a pity children aren't that easy. Actually, Nyasha, it's actually a smart owner. Most dogs are much smarter than people give them credit for. Yes, Jody's saying thank you. He's so animated when he knows he's done well. Dogs love to please their owners. It is part of their thing. All right. Erin's saying, my dad always says that you can do university classes too, but I've never saw where to find them. Really, Erin, do you know where to get them now? Jody, hang on, let's see if we can get the answer from Erin first. Excuse me, I've got the hic. And because there's an open university, there's the Carn University, and the free audio books. I sent a link to Nyasha. There are libraries that have free audiobooks. So if you would like me to, Erin, I'm not sure if you have already found them now or not. If you haven't found them, just tell me, please send link. And I will, ask Jody just to remind me. Free audio from, all right, Nana, I will put it up on, I will put the links up on the resource page on DearMamaSal.com. If you go to DearMamaSal, give me a day to get that up. But if you go to DearMamaSal.com, go to the live broadcast tab or the broadcast tab, and under there, one of the choices is the resource page. And the resource page I will put up where you can get, where you can go. You just need to type into Google free audiobooks, quite honestly. But, your local library has probably got free audiobooks as well. One is called Open Library. There you go, Nana. I'll have to check it out. All right, I'll have to check out where the. But I literally, if I want a free audio book, I'll just type in free audio of whatever the book is I want to read. Yeah, I very rarely pay for anything. Most of it. Most books are available as PDFs, and YouTube has, yes, now YouTube even has audiobooks as well. Is that right, Jody? I didn't see that. And so Nana's saying she listens to audiobooks most days. There you go. So you buy yours though, Nana? So you'd like to know where to get them for free? The things we learn on the broadcast, right? You get yours from the library. Okay, so you're a happy camper. And do you do that online? Or do you actually go to the library to get them? Because, most libraries now have them online. You don't even have to go. Yeah, it's amazing. The world of digital world. It's really, really quite different, isn't it? All right, so Nyasha, I want to take a second because I said I would. I want to take a second to talk about your health issue. Let me just see what you said here. Yeah, the school ones, I would look in the Carn University. Oh, that's the wrong way around. The Carn University has most of the school type stuff. All right. So here's Niasha's situation, and she's given me permission to talk about it. So if any of you've got any bright ideas, please let's have them. Niasha has a medical condition, and she lives on this island called Tobago. And, the medical equipment available to her is only up to this level. And she's got a medical problem that requires a much higher level um, machine to diagnose her. And she can't get it in Trinidad. Even you can't even get it in Trinidad. Am I correct on that one? Not just Tobago. You can't get it in Trinidad either. I just want to get clarification of that fact. Understanding that the two islands, Trinidad and Tobago, are one country. And so she is in a situation where she's got a medical condition and they don't have, right, the island doesn't have it. Does Trinidad have it? I know Tobago doesn't. So and this is where we're so lucky in North America. And I've got to say that because here she sits, she needs this. I'm not sure if it's an imaging machine or whatever it is that she needs, but it's just not available in Trinidad and Tobago. And so she would have to go somewhere like the States or somewhere else to find such a machine. And then, it would cost an arm and a leg and 3 bodies. And so, and it's the next step towards your diagnosis. Yes, absolutely. So I said to her that the one possibility she has is to find out how, where the nearest one is. I would definitely spend some time doing that research, and your doctors would know where is the nearest one and how much would it cost to use it. It's urodynamics. All right, and urodynamics. Okay, so here's the thing that I'm thinking. Once you know where this machine is, be it in the States or Canada or wherever it is, at least then you can find out how much does it cost to use it as a private patient, right? That you fly in and use the machine. My question also would be of my doctors, is this a one-time thing? You need them to test me once, or do I need this testing done regularly? Because, if you need to get it done regularly, this is beyond your ability. But if it's a one-time test, maybe you can raise the funds to do it on something like GoFundMe. That's what I was thinking. Anybody else got any other ideas on how she might do this? The other thing, Niasha, and don't, sometimes we don't realize the power of this. I would also, this is what I would do. I would also talk to maybe my local newspaper and let them know that this is what you need and you don't have the money. And, for all you know, there is somebody sitting on, somebody who lives on the island who's got more money than they know what to do with, that would probably quite happily send you and get that test done. But they won't do it if they don't know you need it. So, that's what I would do is I would, how do I get people to know about this? Well, the easiest way in some ways is the internet. And that's why people now do things on GoFundMe. But I also know that a lot of people are trying to raise money on the internet, and a lot of people are scammers. So, it started off that people were very willing to help people raise money, but now people are a lot more cautious about it. I personally will help people I know. I will help them raise money if I know them. I won't, I occasionally will get a request from somebody and I have no idea who they are, and I will not do it. So, so Nyasha, that is what I would do. Find out where the nearest machine is and find out if you can, and your doctor should be able to find out for you. How much would it cost to use this machine? And if they say, well, I don't know, you go, how do I find out? Once you've got that information, you also have to factor in, I need a flight to get there, and I need a hotel to stay at while I'm there, and the thing is this, if it's a one-time test that you need doing, it's worth going after it. If it's something where you need to go every 6 months and have it done, it might be beyond your ability. And I understand that, your family members. Yeah, I don't think it's something we need to explain, Nyasha. I don't think it really is anybody else's business but yours. I say that because I think it is something that I would rather not explain. All right. You're right. I think it's yours, and it's not easy to talk about for you. And I would rather protect you that way. But, enough said, and you've said it the right way. You've said what the machine is you need, so people get a sense of what it's about from that. And also, it's we never know who's listening. And so I want to be careful about that. You know that I do try and do that. So if you can see if you can get that information, the thing is, we just got to keep asking until we find somebody that says, but I could help on that. All right. And, that's what I encourage you to do. But one of the best ways to get the help is through your local newspaper. If you're talking to the rest of your family members who are begging your parents to make it a reality, your parents may not be in a position to make it a reality, right? That might, they're retired now, and they can't do that necessarily. So now it's a case of, can we get this need to the newspaper? But you need all the facts, because the thing that the newspaper are going to want to know is, what is the test you need? Where do you need to be able to get to? How long do you need to be there? And do all the math on it, Nyasha. Am I making sense, honey? Yeah, I literally would have a spreadsheet where I go, this is what needs to happen, and this is how much it could cost. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, anybody really interested in knowing, they can they can look it up, right? Yep. So, sweetie, did you understand what I'm getting at? And it sounds to me like your family members can also help, because they believe that you need it, right? So, and obviously they would have chipped in to help you if they had the money, but they're busy throwing the can back to your parents and saying, you need to come up with the money. Well, if your parents don't have it, how are they going to do that? So my attitude is, maybe we can do it another way. And the way that I would do it is either through the internet, through GoFundMe, but I probably would say your better chance is actually to go locally, because your family has, you're stuck. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not stuck unless you want to be. Yeah, and I'd start talking to the family members and just say, is there any family member who will help me do the research? Is there any family member that will help me find out, where the nearest machine is or how much this is going to cost, because until I know how much it's going to cost and how much it's going to cost to fly me to wherever I have to go and how much it's going to cost for me to stay there for whatever time it's going to take and then fly back again, I need to have all those figures. And then I want to, you just need to write a story to the newspaper. You live in a small community, Nyasha, and small communities look after their own. And I've got a pretty good feeling that there's some very wealthy people who live on your island. Am I correct? It is such a beautiful island. It's just like there's got to be some serious money that lives there. The trick is, how do you get to them? And let them know your problem and explain that you can't, that machine is not available. You've got to get out of the country to do it. So if anybody else has got any other bright ideas, feel free to let Nyasha know or contact me so I can let Nyasha know. But I can't imagine, Nyasha, one of the things that I keep saying to people, be very grateful for what you have, because I think people don't realize how lucky we are in North America that we need that sort of stuff. It's available. Yeah, may cost us, but it's available. Right, your mom can't fly. She has heart problems. Families are not so supportive once the parents. Yes, I've got a feeling there are rich people living there. That's, and all you need is one person with more money than they know what to do with to read that and go, I want to help. Right? And the fastest way to get them to know about it is to get it in the press. I spent a lot of time in the newspaper business, Nyasha, and they have a saying there. And the saying is, if it bleeds, it leads. In other words, if it's a story that is sad, get it on the front page if you can. Because people react to people in need. And so therefore, it might not be on the front page, but they'll put it somewhere near the front to make sure that people read it, because people relate to those sort of stories. And so the newspaper thing, if it bleeds, it leads, is a very important thing to understand. People like to help one another. Those with money, they can write it off, Nyasha. They to them, it's like not a major thing. It's petty cash to them. Some of them might even have a private plane and be prepared to fly you wherever you need to go. You'd be amazed at the generosity of some people. So your mom can't fly. Who took you to Trinidad then, when you had to go to Trinidad recently? So again, I repeat how important it is. It's really important to appreciate what you have got, and that you're not sitting in the ashes situation. You're fed up, but I would use that energy to try and get answers. All right. And rather than just go, this is hopeless, I can never get it, I would say, I need to do whatever I know how to do to get what I need. Okay, honey. I am certain that that somebody somewhere has got the money to help you, and you just need to make sure that people. All right, so both your mom and dad went okay with you. All right, but she hyperventilated when she was in the plane. All right, so it's going to have to be your dad, right, that takes you. Or are you not capable of going on your own at your age? Or maybe another family member, an aunt, an uncle, a nephew, a niece, cousin. I'm sure that somebody is capable of taking you. Yeah. So, sweetie, don't give up on yourself. It might be that whoever this is that has money says, okay, let me buy one of those machines and we'll bring it in. You know what I mean? It's amazing what some people do. That's why I have no idea how big that machine is. I got to do a bit of research and have a look at it. How big is that machine? Is it a very technical machine? And maybe it's possible to get one. And so I'd be looking at either getting me to it or it to me. So I thank you for allowing us to share the story, Nyasha, because I think it helps other people realize, hopefully, how lucky they are to live where they live. All right, so it's not easy for you to do it on your own, so you need a family member, and you've got a lot of family there, Nyasha. All right. Now, they might not want to do it, but you've got a big family, and that's what families do. They look after one another. And so if your daddy can't do it, then, we need to find another family member who will. So you can do this. Don't give up on yourself. And the other thing is this. At some level, I'm a great believer that, God has a plan. And I'm not sure what the plan is, but, I really do believe you have to trust in that somewhere here there is a plan. There are other people on that island. Yes, exactly, Nyasha. So even talking about this is going to get people, looking it up and researching it a bit and seeing what the problem is. And you never know who knows somebody else. Yes, right. Good girl. Don't give up on yourself. I'll, to me, it's like if we all talk to people that we know, maybe within our sphere of people, we might know, end up talking to somebody who knows somebody that has the money, and so, just don't give up. And, I don't know how many friends you've got online, but, as soon as you get all that information together, um, you know, put it together. And if you like, I will have a look at it and edit it for you so that it becomes a press release that you can send to your local newspaper, if you would like me to. And that's another thing, start having a journal where you're putting all these questions, what's the name of my local newspaper? What is their email address? You think about all the things you're going to need. You can do this, Nyasha. Don't concentrate on the illness. Concentrate on how you get to where you need for the next test. Or get a family member interested in helping you. Right? Because there must be family members of your age. Am I correct in that? Or younger? And, you know, somewhere you're going to have one family member that's prepared to hopefully come to your aid. Well, it may be that if you know, this is a thing that I found so incredible with people with money, Nyasha, that somebody can read about this and say, I can't believe we don't have this machine here in Tobago. Let me just go and buy one and have it flown in. You know, and they'll pick up the phone and they'll go, John, do me a favor, get hold of XYZ and order me up an XYYYZ3 machine. And I want it here by next week. And guess what? Yeah. And they will donate it to your local hospital. It's amazing what people do. But normally those people do that anonymously. They don't talk about it. They, you know, they they just, you know, they have that sort of money. But if they don't know you need it, and others, you know, how many times, you know, have I heard stories about, you know, famous sports people hearing about, you know, a local person that is sick and they sent their private jet to go and pick them up and take them wherever they needed to go. You know, there's so many possibilities here. But the easiest one is to literally get it in your local newspaper and see if anybody reacts to it. That would be the first line that I would go for. But get the information that you need. How, you know, because that's what we're going to say. Where do we need to get you to, and how much is that going to cost? And know that you're going to need to have somebody with you, a companion, go with you for safety, and that means that they've got twice the hotel costs, twice the food costs, twice the everything. Well, yeah, good night to you, Suzanne. Thank you so much for coming in, and know that we do another broadcast on Sunday at 3:30 our time. Suzanne, you and I are on the same time, 3:30 to 5, where we do our Soul Sunday, where we really relax quite a bit for doing that, just so that you know. And if ever you don't know when the next broadcast is, Suzanne, make sure that you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, because I always put up 30-minute warnings. And also, if you go to DearMamaSal.com, you will find there is a tab that says our broadcast, and it gives you the broadcast times. Thank you so much for being here, Suzanne. We appreciate it. It's always nice to meet new people. So I want to thank you all. Thank you, Jody. Jody, by the way, does a wonderful job of being my admin. So she keeps me in track here. Make sure I do the right things. So I want to thank you all for coming in and smiling a bit, but also in supporting Nyasha in being able to tell her story and to give her the time so that she can get a little bit of help with this. And I really think that probably the easiest way is to get you to where the machine is once we know where the machine is, right? That quite honestly is probably the easiest way to get you the help. What I want to get a sense of is how many times you're going to need this machine. That's the important thing. Is it a one-time thing, or is it something that's going to need to happen, 3 or 4 times a year or something? That's what I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I think that would be important information. Sharon, thank you so much for being there, and all the best with what's going on down there. I've got a feeling you guys are going to be in the news a lot, Sharon, with what's going on there. Big hugs, Aaron, and let us know how we can help, and all the best for the 26th. For all of you who love Erin, she has the biopsy on the 26th. So please keep her in our thoughts and prayers. If ever you have a problem on how to word stuff, you let me know, Nyasha. because you probably know that I'm fairly good with words. All right. So there are a number of us here that will, do anything we can to help you. I don't think Facebook alone will get you there somehow. I think you would need to do a major media blitz, and you might not have the contacts necessary to do it. Which is really what my concern is. If you had, loads and loads of friends on Facebook around the world, then it would be easier, but you don't, right? You're basically, very limited in how much you can use the internet. And so that's why I think that the easier way would be to get to your local newspaper and let them advertise it for you. Let them tell your story. And that would be my best guess. So, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Great to meet you, Suzanne. Come back again, please. And thank you for supporting one another. As always, I would like to remind you that it's these little moments where we've got somebody that's got a problem going on and that we can give them the time and hold their hand a little bit that makes all the difference in people's lives. And you will never really understand how much that means to people. And we've got a number of viewers that are going through some tough times at the moment, and I would like us all to keep them in our thoughts and prayers and hope that all works well for them. Nyasha, I part of me wants to say it's my pleasure, but it's not my pleasure to hear that you are having these problems. You know that. And if I had a stack of money, I would probably help you, but I haven't. So people, please look after one another. Continue to do that. And remember, of course, to please look after yourself, because if you don't look after you, unfortunately, there are not many people that are going to do it for you. So that's why it's always important, go for what you want. Jody, I think I'm about to go into day 10 tomorrow of this fasting thing. And I am really have to say thank you so much, because I cannot believe that it's that much easier than I thought it would be. And so you've been a great role model, and thank you for all your support. And let's hope that it gets me out of obese and into just overweight. Big hugs, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to have dinner with Benji tomorrow, so I'll have lots of news for you on Sunday. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you for being here. Thank you for helping one another. And bye-bye for now, if I can find the link.